All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Windsor Township Board of Supervisors. Before we start, I'd like to invite everybody to stand and have a moment of silence for all the people that are going through so much on the West Coast. You guys know all about it. You're in the game. And everybody out there is doing it the best they can for everybody they can. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, our first item on the agenda, would someone make a motion to approve the January 6th minutes of the board?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, we have a lot of people here tonight, so we're going to go into public comment and talk about this fire situation first, because there won't be any need for everybody to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you're invited to if you want to. So we will go into public comment, and first up is Mark Richards.
Good evening. Thank you for the Township Supervisors for taking the time out of your day to understand the information and concerns for the residents of Windsor Township. My name is Mark Richards, the current Fire Chief of Virginville Fire Company. I also want everybody to know that even though I am not a resident of Windsor Township, I do have responsibilities with fire protection of the selected areas of Windsor Township that are under Virginville Fire Company. At Virginville Fire Company, we do operate a brush truck, a quint, which is a ladder truck that can also operate as an engine, a rescue, and an engine tanker, which holds 3,000 gallons of water. At this time, the only issue I express concern and will only be talking about is the run cards and how the closest fire companies are not being called to emergencies. During this information, I will be illustrating using fire companies' names that were responding to calls in Windsor Township as an additional support on another's mutual aid. For those that don't know, mutual aid is providing additional fire support to the fire company in charge of selected area, and this happens throughout Berks County and other counties. At no time does this information being presented reflect to the mutual aid companies as they are responding to dispatches directed under the resources list or directed on the request of a particular unit by an emergency scene command. The township has Hamburg Fire Company and Virginville Fire Company serving the residents and community for many years. But over the past few years, there has been changes made to response areas in Windsor Township on who provides primary coverage by the current emergency management coordinator without conversation directly with the past fire chief of Virginville, Dwayne DeLong, before doing so. This was some areas where Virginville was closer and had response areas and is now under the control of area of Hamburg Fire Company. Also in the past, these run cards were controlled by Hamburg Fire Chief and the Township Supervisors. This meant if Virginville wanted to make updates to run cards that we were responsible for, they would have to be approved and signed by the Fire Chief of Hamburg. Also, this would allow Hamburg Fire Chief to make changes to any area without contacting Virginville with either mapping the responses or resource lists. In the past, I spoke with Mr. Noggle, a past township supervisor, about changes to that process to allow the residing fire chief to make the selected areas, to make the changes and turn the necessary updates into the 911 center. Changes to the run cards could be updated for various reasons. Companies adding units or removing, 911 center updating call types, adding more units, taking units off of particular responses. Mr. Noggle agreed to this information provided, and at the residing chief of the selected area would be able to make changes necessary, and this was approved at a normal township meeting upon approval of the township board. Since then, Virginville run cards were updated and turned into the 911 center to reflect the changes back in October 2022, which was the last run card change for us. Since then, no changes have been made to responses or the resource list to cover the area. Also, these changes were reviewed with Dave, the township supervisor. Over the past few months, I have noticed and heard from other units from further away responding to areas controlled by Hamburg Fire Company in Windsor Township. The one call that triggered me making a phone call to the township supervisor was a garbage truck fire on Klaus Road where 61 Hamburg and 44 Kempton were dispatched. I'm not questioning the 44 as we were about the same distance from the location. My question is when the Hamburg Fire Chief requested 2 additional tankers, which the 911 Center Dispatch Company 770, which is Port Clinton, and 38 Port Clinton, Centerport, for the additional tankers. From the distance study provided via email from the Hamburg Fire Chief, Virginville was 8.53 miles away, Port Clinton was 13.8 miles away, and 38 Centerport was not on the list for the distance. We had the same equipment as the tank for the tankers, and we were the next closest per the email sent by the Hamburg Fire Chief. There was another call to 800 Chappelle Road for a building fire. None of Virginville fire trucks were dispatched to the primary call, but ladder 46 Kutztown was dispatched for the primary call for their ladder truck and drove right past our station, even though Virginville has a ladder truck that was closer. The primary call, which had ladder 46 on it, also had companies from Berks County and Schuylkill County responding. Company 33, along with other units, were added to the second alarm, requested for additional support approximately 6 to 8 minutes after the primary call. This upgrade to the fire was after Hamburg's chief's request. Again, as I stated in the beginning, the companies that were dispatched to the Windsor Township under the direction of the resource list for mutual aid. This list is created and managed by the person signing the run cards. And the mutual aid companies have no say when they are called outside of the primary area. When mutual aid is called for, their pager goes off, and if they have volunteers available, they will respond. This also does not reflect to the 911 center dispatching, as they go off the resource list as well, or dispatch the unit requested by the scene command. The resource list is followed by the 911 center unless that unit is already out on another call or out of service. If the unit is unavailable, they will go to the next piece of equipment on the resource list. Case in point, engine tanker 33 was dispatched to a mutual aid to Bern Township Friday last week to assist with a house fire. We did not question if the closest units were called. Our pager went off to respond as mutual aid and per requested per the resource list provided to the 911 center. At this point, we don't know who was called. We just got alerted and we responded. As above, drum cards are created to cover each area throughout Berks County by property lines and selected areas of each township. I will show you how that looks now. To show you how a run card works, I will show you on a map of 33's area, Virginville, covers. Within each of these colored areas, there is a run card number associated with that area. When 911 is called and made, the dispatchers look up the area given or the address given to them and an associated run card. They will also look up the emergency that the person is calling for. I asked Dave to reach out to,
Hang on one second.
sorry,
We can put it up on the board if you like.
Let's hang it up.
Thank you.
On this map that you see, this is all the area of that Virginville has primary response coverage area. This section here is Windsor Township that we cover. I've asked Dave to reach out to the comm center to.
Mark. By the way, I'm Jerry Davis. The first time we ever met.
Nice to meet
I've been
you.
in this role for a year now. Okay?
Sorry.
First time we met. Can you point to this map? Because that's a clear picture of the whole township. Then refer back to this map.
So we're right in this area.
So this is the township,
Yep.
and you've got this corner right here.
Yes, this corner right here.
So what is that percentage-wise?
Probably about 10 to 15%.
This is 10 to 15% here?
That's what I would think.
Okay.
Estimate.
All right, you go further. I just want to get perspective.
Yep. Because we have like Lively Lane here, Haas Road, Pennsylvania Independence, they're all here, all the different roads that we cover. So I did ask Dave to reach out to the CAD manager to retrieve the run cards that are in the system as of today. In this area, how the run card works is once the 911 call is received, whatever that call type is, they will go on this run list, as you guys have a copy too, and pick the designated card and response. So if we all look here at a structure fire, which is on page 2, not structure fire with entrapment, just structure fire, under the 33-150 card, this thing, I don't know if you have it or not. If not, I can let it sit here.
No big deal.
Okay. So if we have a building fire right now in this area, you're getting Quint 33, and how this works is it goes by columns. So if you look at the top here, it goes aerial, brush, engine, tanker, rescue, other, EMS, and station responses. So how this works is they dispatch per unit. So if we say Quint 33, they're going to dispatch Quint 33. We request for 3 engines. We request for 3 tankers, a rescue, RIT, and EMS. Once they designate how much of what we want to come, they go to what is called a resource list, which is that page there. On that resource list, they're going to go in order what you have listed. So our first ladder truck that's going to be coming behind us, so if our ladder truck is out of service, another call, doesn't make it to the call because of not having the volunteers to be able to respond to it, we're going to get ladder 61 out of Hamburg. The first 3 engines that will be responding to this area, if we have a building fire, is engine 61-3 from Hamburg, Kempton's engine, and an engine from Kutztown. Will be the first 3 engines to be showing up. The first rescue will be Hamburg's rescue, along with whatever we also show up with. The first 3 tankers, including ours, will be Kempton's tanker, Shoemakersville tanker, and Charlottesville's tanker. That's how a run card works. The county will not go off of anything else but this. And our concern is the other day when we heard ladder 46 coming into the other side of Chappelle Road, when we have a ladder truck sitting right there, and if you look at Hammer's run card, 7500, I don't know if you guys have it, on their resource list, and they can also make a special response list. So if you flip back one page to this page here, this is a special response list. Anybody can check off if there's a special response that you want to have for a certain call type. This will trump your original resource list. So what will happen is, if there's a ladder truck call, for instance, they have ladder 61 plus 1 ladder truck. So they're going to go to this special resource list because they have an aerials column for a structure fire. They're going to pull for this card Schuylkill County ladder 63. If it's a normal call, for a normal run-of-the-mill call, they are calling ladder 46 out of Kutztown. When we're sitting from this building 3.4 miles away. If there was a building fire right now here, you would be getting Kutztown's ladder truck. We would not be responding. The next engines that would be coming would be Shoemakersville, Centerport, Kempton, the rescues, would be Shoemakersville, and then the tankers. You got Kempton, you got Shoemakersville, and then you got Port Clinton before us for this building here. Does everybody understand what I'm reading off of this card and how this works? Because I did give you guys also a copy right off the Berks Department of Emergency Services. That book is how to create a run card and how to produce a run card. That's right from their site.
So I have some questions.
Yep.
And of course, most of the group in here might be from fire departments, and they know this, I don't, okay? The term run card is new to me, I never knew that term, okay?
Correct.
Not involved, so just
Mhm.
so be it. My question is, you point this map in this corner, that's the area of your responsibility,
Correct.
meaning that somebody calls in that area for fire services.
Correct.
It goes to the county, they dispatch you first.
They dispatch what is off of that card. So
Which
when
is,
they pull that card.
which is your assigned area.
Correct.
Okay, so you show up here, this building's on fire, you make the assessment at that point that you need further assistance.
Correct.
And then who makes the call to get further assistance in?
So the person that's in command of the scene would call, and as you're going down that structure fire area in that list, it says structure fire 1, structure fire 2, structure fire 3, and 4. It's called second alarm. So then they would go to structure fire 2.
Who's making that call?
Who's making
The call for backup help?
the person that's in charge of the incident? So
Okay.
if I show up first, if Jared shows up first, whoever calls command
Mhm.
is in charge of that call. If they
Right.
say I need additional help, I'm going to the second alarm.
Right.
They tell the county I want the second alarm. They go right to this. They go right to this list.
Mhm.
They go right to the structure fire 2. They rewrite across what is built into that run card, and they go right back to that resource list and dispatch that resource list.
So there's no question regarding the run cards for the assigned territories, like in this case right here.
I do not have any questions on who is covering what area.
Okay,
It is specifically we need to have the closest companies coming for the residents, so they have the quickest responses.
so I have a quick question. I believe everybody in the room is volunteers, and I think everybody's thankful for that.
Yes,
I don't know all the details, but there's circumstances where these folks have full-time jobs that might be working in down south of Reading.
correct.
So while the firehouse may be closer, the people aren't available.
That's
So
throughout the
I-
whole county.
And I don't know how we make that decision here, okay? That's up to both fire departments to make that decision.
Correct, and that's why we have a resource list that if we don't get out and what we call scratch, that resource list is built so that the next closest truck or what's on that list is coming next.
Yeah, but those factors have to be considered here too, do they not?
I don't disagree.
Okay. I don't know what they are.
Right. Because we have guys that work third shift that are around during the
Right,
daytime,
exactly,
and they
whatever.
have guys around during the daytime, to run calls.
And both departments probably have that issue.
Correct.
Every department,
Staffing
yeah.
is definitely always,
Right, so
yes.
what I'm saying is, just saying it's about the distance from one firehouse to the accident or incident, I don't know if that's completely just comment, because there's all these other factors have to be considered, and I don't know what they are.
But it's also making sure that the closest units are coming, someone's picking up the phone to call 911. And if anybody is called in this room and you're waiting for a fire truck to come 30 minutes away, because that's what was on that run card, when there's a fire truck that could be closer, that could be available, that could have the personnel, you don't know until that pager goes off.
I understand.
And that's the volunteer services. That's across the board for the whole county, multiple counties.
And as a taxpayer in Windsor Township, since we are funding Virginsville, would you like, I would like to see that the taxpayers are getting something for the money that they're putting in. I mean, if they're available.
Well, I'm not disagreeing
No,
with
I
that.
know, and I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying too.
I mean, there's a lot of factors that gotta be considered.
But if they're not in the chain, they're not being called.
Right,
That's basically Mark's point.
we're getting jumped over.
Okay.
So like I said, for this
Is that
Chicago,
is that costing the Virginville Fire Company funds in the future?
I don't know, that is strictly from you guys.
No,
The
not from
funding
us, I'm
ones.
talking about other funding. I mean, if you don't go out on the call, you don't incur any cost.
Correct. Other than the trucks just sitting there after the taxpayers have paid for it.
I understood.
there any comment, Craig?
No, not at this point.
Are we allowed to ask questions?
Hang on a second.
So in closing, as we went over the run cards in the respective areas, and understanding just asking for the closest units to be coming in, we were all proud of our respective companies we run with, and want to try to provide the quickest responses in Windsor Township to the best of our abilities for the residents, visitors, and people driving through the area, that they will receive a quick response for whatever type of emergency they call 911 for in need of help. We all know volunteers doing work outside of their normal job and home time. We understand sometimes volunteers are not available to respond or have a delayed response for whatever reason. But the closest unit should be called than working farther away. And if we don't get to respond, the county does do a 7 to 10 minute response that if no one's on the street, they are going to the next unit. So what I'm asking for the supervisors to review is the respective response areas and the run cards to make sure that the closest units are being called in someone's time of need. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Hold on a second. Let's give Jared a chance to respond, and then we'll let the audience ask whatever questions they want if you don't,
Yep.
don't mind.
All right. So while there is agreed upon concepts that Mark brought up, I will agree to some of what he said. However, there is some factual data that we do need to cover, review, and implement in decisions on why some of the run cards are set up the way they are with the resources. I do want to reference, though, the resolution that the township had passed in 2022, which it references that it gave the authorization to the Virginville Fire Chief, Hamburg Fire Chief, Emes Fire Chief. In that resolution, it states that each department chief will designate their run cards with their authorization. And I believe across the board, that's what we've done respectfully.
Yes.
Okay. There may be differences in tactical operations of those run cards, okay? Because there are, with a lot of different circumstances that we present in today's real world atmosphere. One of the big points that I just want to cite is the interdepartment bashing that's been taking place on social media. There's no benefit to the township, to the citizens, or the folks in the relationship in this room. That has been very adamant for a number of years, and has continued up until that call last week. That 100% needs to stop. It serves no purpose, no goodwill to anybody in the room. It surely doesn't represent well of the organizations that are here to the citizens here in the community. So first off, I think equally, and what is being posted is not factual. So if we're gonna be presenting factual information, it needs to be factual across the board, okay? So I do have just a statement on behalf of the department back to the citizens here in the community and to the township. The Union Fire has a long, rich history of providing aggressive and proactive fire rescue and medical services to our community, where volunteer members live, work, and protect 24/7, 365. Our department members respond to countless emergencies, providing life-saving needs and property protection to the community. The officers of the organization have been tasked with annually reviewing the current emergency call types and how we statistically deliver these services, with staffing models that bring in the most trained mutual aid partners to provide the highest quality of fire suppression, care, and rescue services to the citizens who reside or travel on the large highway systems and in our rural community. Current staffing models have us focusing on bringing in a higher volume of mutual aid members based on cross-staffing programs such as municipal public works programs, which support fire departments when our members are at work, resulting in changes in the order of some of the departments that may be called based on emergency needs. While changes occur, no department is skipped rather than reassigned based on their apparatus priority in efforts to ensure best staffing and or apparatus needs are met based on the level of call types dispatched by Berks DES. Our run cards are reviewed and drafted annually, as well as reviewed by EMS, Berks DES, the planning partners such as our community working group members, our consultant who provided our township assessment, and financial plans and studies that were conducted within the last year. These multi-tier checks and balance systems ensure that we're meeting the needs of the community, and hazard task specific tactics are used to place life and property at the forefront of the response planning, with our goal in developing these if your family or our family's loved ones were involved, to render the most professional and prompt response as possible. We continue to evaluate this process with the municipal emergency counterparts to create an advanced safety plan for managing these high-risk emergencies, keeping in mind the fiscal cost to the taxpayers and coordinating their response plan based on emergency needs for critical case and lesser need for non-emergency calls to ensure fiscal responsibility is at the forefront in the mind of all municipal government and to our communities and our coordinating partners. Our department's highly trusted and trained personnel deliver the best quality of fire and/or rescue and EMS services to our community. Educating and pre-planning, as outlined in our joint township fire service plan, which we provided, is conducted with all municipalities that we serve in Northern Berks. Our department will continue to focus on providing community-based services with professionalism, providing highly trained and staffed municipal supported services across Northern Berks County, while meeting the wide range of demands in today's real-world needs of aggressive emergency and response services to our community. Now, with that being said, some of the different tactics that departments here in Berks and Schuylkill are using is, yes, we want to call the neighboring departments. However, if you're calling more than apparatus during the day, you're stripping from that area. So our goal, in the way our cards are set up in pre-planning, is we try to logistically pick the priority piece out of each station. So for Virginville, with this being a rural community, is water. That's why their tanker has been the first piece out on most of the calls, because of the volume of water that they're bringing. Yes, they have a ladder. They do not have an engine. So therefore, when we're listing those engine categories, we do have to become creative in how we're selectively placing the apparatus. As you can see on the map, Windsor is a very big township. It is split between the industrial section and we'll say the pro-ag section of the township. Okay, that's why there's 3 run cards with the way it's split geographically. We have to position those run cards using pinpoints, time studies. But if you can see with the way, and I provided this in other emails to the supervisors, the township's split in 3 ways. So we have to geographically try to pinpoint off of those address points in the middle of the township to create these resources. There is a difference in how that data is collected and analyzed. So those are some of the determining factors that we have. I have other information. I don't know if we were planning to go into executive session on this or not, as what was pre-spoken about, but
No.
there's other data that we can present on this case to, explain things.
If there's going to be, things that are like data specific, that would be something that would be appropriate for executive session, because that would go to public safety.
And also the contents of the run cards need to remain also in that executive session for security purposes.
I would agree.
Yeah, so.
That's up to the supervisors if you want to do that. If you want to get into that.
Do we want to take care of the audience first?
Yeah, yes.
Get any comment from?
Right, but I think that if you're going to get into the specifics of
Yeah,
the
we-
contents of the run cards, I think that we need to do that in executive session.
Yeah, okay, but we can take care of any public comments at this
Right.
time before we go into executive session.
And potentially Mr. Westner, so he's not sitting here all
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah, we'll throw him in before we do executive session.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it won't take long. Let's get,
I'm done. I have other data, but it would be for
Okay.
the executive session.
all right, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? You want to come up to the podium, please, and state your name?
Matt Lips. I'm a property owner and also a taxpayer in Hamburg Borough. And yes, I have made some posts in the past about, I thought Hamburg should be doing more fundraising, selling items, tickets, having car shows, car wash, whatever, doing the hard work to raise money to support whatever they want to purchase or extra training, whatever. And me and another person said to the borough about, we didn't think as property owners and taxpayers of the borough of Hamburg, we didn't think it was appropriate that they're gonna raise our taxes because Hamburg's chief goes to them and says, we can't pay our bills, we're gonna have to sell equipment unless we get more money from the borough, which that directly came from borough council to me. And I said, well, that's not right. I said, they should do fundraising. We bust our humps selling tickets, having things for the community, having car shows, golf tournament, anything we could possibly come up with to raise money. I would say probably 2 weeks goes by. At that point, we were still on the run card for fire police, okay, which they took us off. Now they call Greenfields. At the airport, instead of Virginville, they call Greenfields. So we're on a call in Hamburg, helping out in an accident with entrapment and injuries. Mr. Emes, the chief, calls our then chief, Max, on the radio and says, can you come down to me? Max goes down. He comes back up. I said, what was that about? He said, well, if you, and somebody, I'm not going to mention their name, don't stop complaining about Hamburg wanting more money and not doing fundraising or whatever, they're going to take us off their run cards. We're not going to have fire police come into Hamburg anymore for any 78 or any calls, and we won't be on the run cards for anything if we don't stop complaining. I said, all right. I said, I wasn't complaining as a firefighter. I didn't think it was right as a taxpayer, because I live in Hamburg. Well, lo and behold, he wants to talk about professionalism, service to the people, being there, and all that book reading he just spewed to you came out of a book. That's not professional. When you threaten your neighboring fire department, if you don't stop crying about us winning more money, we're going to take you off the run cards. Who does that hurt? Hurts everybody sitting here that lives in Windsor Township, Hamburg Borough, Tilden, and anywhere else. The Pennsylvania State Fire Commissioner states in the fire service of saving lives and property, there is no place for politics, the buddy boxes that he creates by calling Ulrichsburg, Deer Lake, and Schuylkill Haven down to Hamburg Borough. There's no reason for any of that. What is important is saving lives, saving property, and working together. But that doesn't happen with him. Over the past few years, I ran with Port Clinton. I was offered a position there, went to there. When I ran with Port Clinton, numerous times he reported me to the police department, Hamburg, stating I was speeding going to calls. Turns out, the 3 times he did that to the police at Hamburg, I was at work. I wasn't even on the call. He did that to another member of ours, and he works at DECA. He wasn't even on the call. All I got.
I have a comment, Matt. I lived here for 25 years. I don't know you. I don't know most of the people in the room. That's my fault, okay? All this history that you're referring to is what it is. You have your feelings, right? How do we go forward? How do we go forward? And, I'm not your parent, and I'm not saying the other side of the room here is innocent.
Right.
But constantly stirring the pot isn't going to make anything
We're-
productive. And if that keeps up, why do you think they're going to call you for help? I don't know. I'm a simple person. Explain that to me. You see what I'm saying? It's not helping your cause.
When nobody said anything about them or anything whatsoever, he doesn't let anything go.
Well,
Never does.
maybe it's time for you to step up and be the bigger person and put that all in the past and move forward.
And I have,
Okay, that's, I think, the answer here, okay?
and I have.
I don't think this side of the table can jurisdict what their run cards are going to be and who's gonna call who. It's time for everybody to bury the hatch in the past. Who cares what somebody did and move forward? Because
I
I don't know
agree.
how, I don't know how it's gonna be resolved.
I 100% agree. This last call we had,
But what I'm saying to you is,
we were there.
you're here expressing all these feelings, okay? And I'm not saying they're not valid. I'm just saying is, at some point, we're just gonna have to end it and move forward.
I 100% agree.
I mean, otherwise, your kids and the other people's kids in the room are gonna pick up these feelings. The fight's gonna continue the next generation.
I agree.
I don't know if anyone else has anything to say or not, but
I'll let it
that's
go
my feeling.
100% if he's willing to let it go.
Well,
He's
that's,
been like this for the past 10
Well,
years or more.
that's why we're here, to get this all figured out.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
And that's why we want to hear both sides of the story,
'Cause when
so
we're
we
on
can make
call,
that
It's
determination.
all about the people that we're protecting and there to help,
All right,
so.
all right, thank you.
mhm.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
You had a question?
I did, but Jared answered it. Thank
Okay.
you. But I mean,
Okay.
if I, like, am I allowed to ask Matt a question?
Sure.
If you live in the borough, have you ever volunteered for Hamburg?
Yes.
And what, like, when did you leave Hamburg?
When I got trapped in a structure fire in 2007 on Bird Road, when a firefighter shouldn't have actually been in the structure fire, there was holes in the floor, and I got trapped and spent 4 days in the burn center in a coma in Lehigh Valley. That's when I quit after that, when I came back from Lehigh Valley Burn
Did
Center.
they get you out, or did you get out on your own?
No, they got me out.
Okay. Who was that pulled you out?
It was Jared.
Anyone else?
I would just like to say I'm a lifetime member of the Hamburg Fire Company, the Hamburg Ambulance. I'm also a nurse who worked in the burn unit.
That's why I don't understand
And your
why
name?
he hates me so much.
Christina McLaughlin,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. And I live in Windsor.
All right, anyone else have any comment?
Tracy Smith. I just want to say that there's a lot of drama that's going on between both fire companies, obviously. And when it comes to the end of the day, that drama needs to be left outside the door, and all you need to get along and you need to go and fight a fire. Because I know if it was my house that was burning, I would want the closest company coming, whether it's Hamburg, whether it's Virginville, rather than Schuylkill County, which is how many miles up the road. Would you guys want that? Picture if it was your house. Would you want your neighboring fire company to come, whether they're staffed with 1 guy or 10 guys? Or would you want to wait for a company that's, what, how
50 miles away.
approximately 15 miles away to come? You need to leave your drama at the door. And yes, I'm a nurse and I work at Virginville.
And I agree with what you're saying, all right? But somebody got to take the first initiative to stop the drama.
Well, I think everybody needs to put their big boy pants on
That's
and
right.
let it go.
I agree.
And it's not just it's both, this has been going on for a long time from what I understand. I have personal views on this, which is not here to discuss this. But I think it needs to be addressed with, obviously, if the run cards aren't, and I don't understand the whole run card bit, so maybe I'm completely off, but I think you need to look at the run card and say, okay, why isn't this company listed as being that they're the neighbor company? Why aren't they? Is it beef? Are we having beef with the company? Because that's exactly what it is at the end of the day. And for the safety of the public, for the safety of your property, people, mothers, husbands, whatever, kids. If I had a child that perished in a fire because nobody could drop your drama and go fight it, believe you me, we would be more than just sitting in this meeting.
And I agree with you. I think that's basically why we're here tonight, to try and make some common sense out of this thing and get a resolution to it. And, get these companies working together in this area for the taxpayers that are paying for it. For any comment?
Have to work together. How else can things get done?
Okay, does anyone else have
Can I
anything to
also
say to?
something else? I'm sorry.
Sure.
And also, if they do call the neighboring companies, don't be petty and have my husband or my son or my whatever go all the way out to the company and then decide to be like, oh, you're recalled just for being petty. I get it. There's reasons why you're recalled, but there's also reasons that you recall people. Again, it's drama and it needs to be leveled out.
Okay. Bethany, you're on the public comment. Did you want to say anything?
I don't have anything right now.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. If no one else has any comment, we're going to dispense with our SEO report and zoning officer report, and then we'll adjourn into executive session to discuss the nitty-gritty, and we'll go from there. Mr. Ryan Wessner.
So I just have here in front of you, well, not in front of you, I have it in this big file I just got. This is the SEO and for the fees and the resolution. Yeah, this is for everything for you to sign. I just want to make sure I keep this in order. Those are all items for you to sign. These are all copies. You can take one each. There you go. So I think she had, for you to look at was the SEO fee schedule, the UCC fee schedule, then the resolution for the DOT grants. Craig, is that correct?
Right, that's what she's
And the
forwarded.
ELAL agreement.
Right.
You don't have copies.
And then this would be the copies you would need to sign. You have to, right?
We need a
This is-
motion.
You need a motion
We need a motion. So are you doing 5 or 7 right now?
for what?
Fee schedule?
Let's start with the SEO fee schedule.
Is that separate from the?
Yep, you'll have the SEO fee schedule, the UCC fee schedule,
Start with.
and then the resolution.
Okay.
Oh, she has proposed, so written on it.
Yes.
Is that on the final?
That's what.
And these are there.
This is proposed on it.
Yes, proposed is still.
Okay.
So the signature page is separate, correct?
Yeah.
So we can sign it, and then we can strike off proposed that way. and
Okay.
Email it back, because it needs to get up on the website too.
Yeah, so I'll strike that out, get you sign it, and I'll redo the proposed sign, sorry about that.
And these are all the changes that were incorporated
So-
last week.
Yeah, everything you discussed, about the fees have been changed. They cover, we think in our best knowledge, everything, just as, that were discussed. I wasn't here at the prior meeting,
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, but, I believe with the application fees and then with your certain fees for sheds, fences, that stuff of that nature, it'll cover all the fees for. And
Yeah.
of course, just to reiterate the point, code enforcement is kind of not covered under anything, because that's just you're going out there and doing that. Writing those letters.
Yeah, I think the big thing last week was the fees for the zoning hearings.
Yes, we upped those.
Yeah.
Yes, and what I did, so, just across the board, I took Hamburg, I looked at Hamburg, I looked at Greenwich, I looked at West Brunswick, right over, just kind of in general area, and I went off what everything is, and how far we can go, because I'm sure Russ knows here, you can't set it to some price, too high.
You can't make money. We
Yeah.
reviewed that.
Good, all right. Sorry, I wasn't here last time, I should have.
Is there any other comment on the fee schedule?
Yeah.
All right, then I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the fee schedule for 2025 as presented. Do I have a second?
That's resolution number 5.
That's yes. I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, and then resolution number 6 was the SEO fee schedule. And that was done by Pamela and Scott and finalized to make sure that they are covering all their expenses for SEO work in the township. Which does, because they include, if it does get to a certain cost, they will submit another escrow.
This one here.
Yes, this one here, proposal for student work and officer services.
Any other comment?
No, this is what we talked about.
Dave, how much did it go up from last year? Was it 8% or what did they do
For which one?
just the for what we're on now with?
The
Yeah,
resolution, the SEO?
Yeah.
SEO really didn't change.
didn't
too
change,
much.
okay.
No, because in the end, it was still, SEO was done by, Systems Design prior. They pretty much
Okay.
made sure, Scott made sure that it covered his costs.
Okay.
And that's why we put some clauses in there. If we do get to a certain point, like a development, and
Yeah,
we
you
need to
can
add
add
more,
more.
yes, we
Okay.
can add more money. And what the hourly rate is there, it covers Scott's time
Okay.
and mileage. That's what we up.
All right, if there's no other comment, this is resolution number 6.
Yes.
Would someone make a motion to adopt this?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
And then next is the resolution number 7, the DOT grants. I'm assuming with the PennDOT's, oh, and then the electronic access for PennDOT.
That's to submit the reports electronically.
Yes, just to submit the, yes, that's what it was, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes,
So we are agreeing to do electronic, is that what this is for?
yes,
The township's agreeing to do this way.
yes.
Okay.
I think Pamela met with Craig sometime in the fall. to
Right,
train
that
them on
was
how to
the
do it.
idea.
It's,
That it would eliminate the paper necessity for submission.
Correct.
and they discussed that with the PennDOT representative. And they
Charlie
were,
Paris.
yeah, and they were in agreement to
Okay.
start going this way.
All right, any other comment?
Yeah, I'd like to make that motion.
I'll
So
second
that-
it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
Do I leave these copies here for you to sign, and then you'll just?
Sure.
Okay. We'll get that front page changed, sorry about that, the proposed.
Yeah.
I think I was supposed to make some last minute changes. And you'll just send these to me?
You don't need the originals, do you?
No, I think I can just take copies.
Yeah.
Correct?
And the only other thing I have for you is, so it's on record, is the, that situation out on Woodland Road
Yes,
where they're moving dirt and taking
Ray Martin.
trees and brush down.
I know who it is.
Because I don't think there's any
He's
silt
res-
barriers up.
Yep, and he's received a letter from myself through Hamburg, so I'm gonna send him a letter through us as well.
Okay.
Yes, because he's where he's moving dirt. He's not supposed to be, he's taking down more trees, and then if he has a lot of, I know that's a steep bank there, so if he has a lot of runoff, he needs the.
Well, yeah, there's a pile of dirt back by the pond.
It needs
in a
the,
creek.
it needs the silt fence. I will send that letter tomorrow.
Okay. Did anybody else have anything for Mr. Western?
You haul out a lot of dirt too.
Yeah, I was by
Like
today,
your trucks all day.
yeah.
Well, that's a,
There's
thank
some
you.
big piles.
Yes, yes, there's a lot of dirt, Brian, that's
there-
been hauled out.
Thank you. There was a mention of a structure fire on
Chapel Road.
Chapel Road. How bad, does that house need to be posted? Was there?
It was the
No,
new
it's
addition. That-
livable.
It was
all
just in
contained
the
in the
addition.
garage.
It's
Yeah,
livable,
it's-
so
yeah.
no.
It
no
looked all
issues?
interior.
Nope, yeah, it was an exterior garage, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's, I just want to make sure that we had that covered, because I know.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
Any other comment? All right. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. Please let me know if you need anything else.
Yep. All right, at this point, we are gonna go into executive session. I don't know if everybody wants to hang around or not. It's up to you. Who knows how long we might be in there.
And do you want the fire chiefs in with you?
Yeah, I think so.
Should be the chiefs and their respective deputies or.
Well,
So
how
we
about one
spoke
deputy?
about.
I think just the chiefs.
Just the chiefs?
Less people, the better.
Yeah.
I gotta respect my deputy chief, he has to go to work tonight. At like another half hour, so he won't be able to stay.
Yeah, okay, we'll just have the two chiefs then.
Just the two chiefs.
All right, are we gonna do it over in the office, or are we gonna ask everybody to leave, or?
I think we're gonna have to go, when we go over into the office.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you're welcome to stay if you like, but, no telling how long we may be there. So I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it.
And then the executive session is pursuant to the public safety exception.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the public session of the meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right. All right, we're gonna go into the reports, financial status.
At this stage, obviously, there isn't a whole lot. We have preparation for the audit, so this is just for so far for the month of January, real quick. If you have a handout, the large source of income for the month of January was the earned income tax, $30,000 some dollars. Total income received so far in January, $42,386 some dollars. And at this point, just the expenditures, $15,872. Any questions concerning finances at this point?
Any comment?
No.
No? All right, thank you. All right, SEO, we already took care of. Resolution 7 and 5 we took care of. I don't know if Jared had anything else. He's on his phone, so we'll go to Roadmaster. Do you have anything for us, Ben?
Yeah, two quick, actually 3 things. 2 of the Hometown Hero banners on Old 22 are ripping. One's almost ripped completely through. The other one's pretty frayed.
I talked to Snook today. She's going to reorder those 2 banners, but she needs to know if you need any of the rails for it.
Okay.
Because she said you had a couple spares.
Yes. Well,
Do you have enough?
I have to check. I think there's 3 rails here yet and stuff.
Well, let me know, because she's not gonna order them until I get back to her to let her know if you need them or not. You need the bands as well.
Yes, I definitely need the bands.
Okay.
So, we also have a lady here. She was wondering if we are. I'll let you talk.
Yes, hi. I was just wondering if you're taking new orders for banners right now for the Hometown Hero.
The issue was, we have a list of polls
Mm-hmm.
that could do it, but in order for Med-Ed to consider them, I mean, they already have them in the GPS system for PA1 calls, but they wanted her to go out and take photographs of the polls. And I told her, I said, well, that's not something she should be doing. So if we have to, is that something you can help her with, Ben,
Yeah, because I didn't know.
to get the list?
I didn't know if we could go and some of the poles that we could put a second one on, like, on
Yeah.
both sides, or if we were only allowed to do one. Because there's a couple we could put a second one on because we already got those poles approved, but I didn't know how many more banners.
One, I
were
believe it
on the
was
list.
from like Smoke Church out with the polls that were in consideration.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, can we get your name and phone number and that stuff? And when we find out that information, we'll get back to you. I'll tell Snook to hold off on ordering it until we can see if we can get more polls
Right.
on the
Well,
list.
don't we need to consider this as how we're gonna put this in the budget, who's paying for it? Before we
They
just-
pay for the banners, the individuals pay for the
They
banners.
being,
Whoever wants to put the banner up, the family.
Yeah, they
Okay.
pay for that.
So,
so we're just ordering on your behalf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I would pay
Okay.
beforehand, I'm
Yeah,
I
sure.
see.
Yeah,
For the
and what they
banners.
do, since we're tax exempt,
If the township initially pays the payment, we don't pay taxes. But then the customer
yeah,
reimburses
they
Windsor
reimburse
Township.
us.
Okay.
Now, there was a poll that I guess there was a banner, but that was removed and the family has the banner now. Would that poll, since it was already approved by Med-Ed, could we have?
Scott,
Oh, did he take it down when he left? I wouldn't see
So
why not.
that's one that's open.
Okay.
So,
Well, there, we just replace it,
Well-
with the one that she
well,
wanted.
that's what I'm saying, yeah, but I thought there might be some others that were looking to order.
well,
but
yeah.
I'm not sure, that's been a couple years
Steve
now.
Bright had looked at one and he never got back to her.
Because I know I know she had asked too, if there was a minimum order or not. I wasn't sure.
No, I don't think there is, because she said she was only gonna order 2 this time.
Okay. Because I would order 2, one for the 81-year-old veteran and then his son, who was also in the military and born and raised here.
Yeah, I don't know if we can put them on both sides, though. See, that's something we'd have to check, because if there's one spot available, which one do you want?
It would be for the 81-year-old veteran
Yeah.
first. Yeah.
All right, could you give Craig your contact information?
Sure.
And let me know as far as the hangers,
I'll look tomorrow and see what.
and then I'll get back to Snook and I'll say, just hang on, we may have another one. Because you'll have to come up with a photograph and all that stuff.
Okay. All right. Can I give that to you after the meeting, or do you want me to give that to you now? On the record?
Do we still have them order the sheets? Or
I think she has all that stuff. Yeah, because we never really took care of it, she did.
Do you want me to write the name of the veteran?
No, I don't think that's the matter, but just, you know, the address and phone number, or email, whatever you think would be best.
Yeah, this is my cell number.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
she stopped in the other day. And I said, yeah, it just so happens those were damaged out there. I was going to bring it up at meetings. So
Yeah, I
she
just
came-
talked to her today.
She came to meetings. So.
And I just want to say I appreciate the township having those banners, because it's so great to drive on Roll 22 and to see them, and they're in pretty good condition.
Well, we'd like to have more, but it is a fight with Med Ed
Right.
to get the authorization on the polls. And I don't know why.
But thanks for what
It's
you
nice.
did for that.
Yeah, okay.
The other thing, one of the other things that we got salt delivered today, so the shed is full again, and propane's ordered. It'll be here Monday for the 2 buildings for heat. So that's all I have.
All right, any comment? All right, and anything at the park?
Not that I
No.
know of. It's winterized.
Yeah. Okay. All right, solicitor, Mr. Farbiar's.
I think we want to have, I'm going to be advertising for the weight limit ordinance for the next meeting for your consideration. I did advertise all the meetings dates for the rest of the year for the supervisors and the planning commission. That was should have been in the newspaper yesterday. So that's all set and set going forward. I don't have anything else right now.
Anybody have anything for him? Nope. All right, thank you. All right. Tell you what, I want to go back to Bethany Threads, and she had signed up for public comment. Did you have anything?
I'm just gonna add from kind of the discussion before, just to say, I think what was presented tonight was presented in a very black and white, perspective, when in reality, it's very much shades of gray, and there's a lot of things that are taken into an account, taken consideration, looked at in establishing these run cards. You know, when we look at these annually and look at changes, look at how departments around us have changed, it's a very tedious and in-depth due process that we do to ensure the safety and the best aspect of our community. You know, it's not just, you know, they say distance and time. That's one aspect, and there's a huge perspective and due diligence that we take at least annually, if not more than that, to ensure we're doing our best for our community.
We had an in-depth discussion on that.
Good. Very good.
All right, is that it?
Yep.
All right, thank you. All right, new business, new emails for the township. You had talked to Carl about that?
Yeah, and in fact, I think we should try to initiate that, get rid of the AOL.
Well, and one of the reasons we never got it through Comcast was because they don't have free email and business accounts. So that's why we stuck with what was already in place. So if not, if we wanna do away with that, did you check out both options that Carl had sent out?
Carl, I didn't see,
Did you-
what did Carl send?
I'll show them to you. There's just different options as far as just a mail with that.
Are we still using the personal, or are we using the township ones that you gave us? Cause like mine bounce back all the time. So that's why I kind of try to hit everybody.
Mine is a
with the personal.
township email, but it's Yahoo.
Okay,
And I think that's the one I gave to Leslie.
okay.
She had sent me something.
I just
and
wasn't sure,
straightened
because it
that out.
bounces, I just wanna make sure we're sending, I don't wanna be sending it to personal if we need to be redirecting it to, like we said, just that everything's aligned right.
Well, I think the discussion was, and going forward, we need to get a domain with windsortownship.com. And that needs to be set up, and that's gonna have to be a paid service. Because we can't do the Yahoo thing, or the Gmail, right?
Please don't do Gmail.
Yeah.
No, you want to have your you do have your own domain, but you probably want something a little shorter.
Okay.
But that's where you want your emails to be going.
So who's gonna handle that?
That's up to you.
Do you have a company that you're using to host it or not?
We have a person who does our IT work.
Okay.
It's Wix, so it's self-service.
Okay.
I think that Carl could easily set that up.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You set up my email account.
Yeah, it's not particularly hard. I mean, I know how to do it too, but it's my early when you don't want me to do it.
Thank you, Russell. It's sinking in.
I've been saying it for years, Jerry.
The only thing, we have to make sure we're different than the York County one. So
Right.
Yeah.
the stuff don't get,
The
So,
suggestion, the
Craig, why don't you
suggestion
do-
that was made was Windsor Township, Berks County,
Right.
because of the one that's in York.
Yeah, I just think that it's a long domain name. So for an email address, it's going to be challenging. So I don't know, you know, maybe Carl has some suggestions on that.
Okay.
So Craig, you're gonna follow up with him to
Yeah, and
proceed
now-
with that then?
I'll make sure that we're all contacted as to what his suggestions are.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And just send an email to all of us, then we'll
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
together as a group.
Yep.
All right, EMC plan status. Is that a letter you got?
Yep, so I provided just an update on that. The gentleman that was overseeing the plans retired. The new gentleman took over. Plans did not get shared between the two, so it's listed as inactive right now. It is not, it's in play. I've already sent everything off because wasn't just Windsor, it was Tilden and some other municipalities. They have everything. One of the things going into this year is, I think, as a cooperative mutual aid agreement, we need to go back to the regional EMA that we had before when Hamburg pulled out. DES is very in favor of regional EMAs due to geographic locations. So that is something going into this year that I would like to look into, but I need to report back to everybody on that process because the process now to regionalize is different than when Troy did it years ago. When they had Tilden, Hamburg, and Windsor in the Northern Berks plan. So this will also make in disasters just resource needs a little bit easier to manage and maintain and to share. So this 25 was the renewal date for the plan. So this year, I have all year to get it done. But I want to see if we're going to redo them individually or if as a collaborative intermunicipal agreement, we do it as a joint plan to be more beneficial to the township. So I have to go to each one though. Everybody that would be part of it, we would have to present it and then get approval. So it's not an overnight thing. So, but we are back up to speed. So there was never a problem with it.
All right, any comment? All right, the 2025 budget review.
Okay, I have some handouts you can pass around. Russell. I don't know if anybody would like a copy of that too, when I pass them out. So what everybody's looking at here is two columns. Well, on the far left column is the same report that Craig has put out and put together in the same format, same order. And what I did was took the revenues, first page, the revenues and expenses on the last two pages. And then I put a column next to it with the budget that was put in effect in the end of December. And there's a couple of lines I would like to go through and ask some questions and get some clarity on this. On 30, under taxes, 301.1 is the adjustment, Craig, for the millage increase, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that makes sense to me. Moving down on 341, interest. That is reflected because the American Rescue Fund is no longer gaining interest?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's, I think that makes sense on the budget line. On page 2, under 380 miscellaneous, last year revenue was $12,242, and we're budgeting $20,000 this year as revenue, and it's classified as other. What was in that category?
There are different things that come from the state as far as refunds and things.
Okay,
Right, and that's why.
so it's like state refunds.
Mhm.
Do you expect that to be higher this year?
I think so.
What would drive that to be higher?
Different kinds of activities that are occurring. I mean, there was some literature that had to come. I can show you some specifics then
Okay,
as we go through this.
okay. Well, that's fine. But my major concern starts on page 3, actually. And my concern is we put this budget together that we have a guidance to go with it. On item 404, solicitor, last year expense was $77,000 and we're budgeting $50,000 this year.
Well, it was because of what had to be spent for the
Oh,
legal activity
Right.
involved with the solar panels.
Okay,
You're not gonna get charged $50,000 from me.
okay,
Assuming that there's no, special,
Right,
conditional
okay.
use. I mean, historically, what we've charged annually has been about $15,000.
okay,
That's usually what it works out to be,
Okay.
somewhere in that neighborhood.
all right,
But this is not just me, this is also your zoning hearing board, so.
sure. Okay, then the same concept is on line 408, which is engineering. It's $11,000 reduction, and I agree we should be able to keep that down too, probably, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now, the biggest one I have a concern with is 411 fire company and relief. And I put this together like this because I'm confused of how the number's that high.
What, the 97?
Yes,
We get money from the
no, this is an
Well,
expense.
There's firemen's
fireman's
relief
relief
fund.
fund that we get from the county.
State.
That's a
state.
state, that's a
Yeah,
state.
they give us the money and all we do is redistribute it.
It's
Gotta
the
show
pass,
up on
that
the
pass
books.
through
money.
So they have to
Yeah, it's-
report it, but it's a
It's like,
pass
what,
through.
$17,000 normally?
It was,
Yeah.
it was total, right.
That's the workers' comp.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
No.
That's
No,
something
the
different.
relief money is the 2% tax on foreign fire insurance. And the state divvies that up between the pension fund and the volunteer fire companies. is there's a formula to come up with the amount, which is based off of population, assessed value, I forget what else. There's another one in it.
So-
Each area is different of what they get, but the amount changes every year.
Okay.
They give it to us and we just
It's a
redistribute.
pass, it's like a pass through.
It has to hit your account before it
Right.
gets redispersed for accountability.
So it's an expense. It's listed as an expense here.
It's also listed
The
as,
the state,
Could be
the
listed as a
state,
revenue as well.
it's also a revenue item.
On
Yeah,
which
it should be a
line?
revenue item for it. I think shared, correct, if I'm wrong, shared revenues is probably it, because that's about what the amount is.
Yeah, 355.99 on page 2, Jerry.
So it's so it was around 17. So that's a revenue there, and you put it over here as an expense also.
the money we get is, it just comes in and out. We get it, we have to distribute it. And in Windsor's case, half goes to
Right.
Virginville and half goes to Hamburg.
But you're putting it on the income side, you're also putting it in the expense side together with the other number. Okay, all right. Because we have an $80,000 budget for this year. Should that not be 97 then?
It should be higher.
Okay. The next section I'm concerned about is under 430 bridges and roads. One of the main ones that the concern, I understand snow removal varies. Traffic signs, last year we spent 8,000, this year we're only projected to spend 2,000.
But it all varies, and then of course, we just have to see what you need.
All the signs for Port Clinton Avenue, were they ordered?
Because she didn't get me a final list yet. She only gave me the preliminary list that we talked about when we first started. She didn't get me the final list. So those weren't ordered yet.
Okay. The next one is 437 machinery repair. Last year we spent 45,000, the budget's 25. I know there were some unexpected expenses, but do we think that we're going to, has history been around 25,000?
It varies, sometimes it was less, so you just don't know, but,
Okay,
well, Jerry, that's what, we have money in reserve, so if you need something to pay, you just, that's the way we have done this for 40-some years.
okay,
I
I'm
mean,
just,
that's why we have a reserve, so that if you need it in one category, you could use that.
well, that's why I put these columns on here for the months, okay? So if we could use this format, we'll plug it in there, it gives us a guidance of where we're at compared to budget. I have a note here also, and it might be on the next page, but for an example, roadmaster and road crew wages, where are they putting this report at?
Say that again, Jerry.
The wages for roadmaster and the road crew, where are those wages plugged in?
Under 438.
438.
Road maintenance.
It's under road maintenance?
Yep.
I do not know because when I turned the page, where did it go? Or the top of this page, there was supervisor salaries, tax collector salary, and et cetera. I didn't know why it was not up there, but it's in line 438. Okay. Moving on to line 454, the park, which I recognize that the doors that we put in there caused that expense to be that high last year. Okay. That's fine. Moving down, the big discrepancy I have is under miscellaneous expense, unemployment compensation. we're budgeting half of what last year's expense was. Do we expect that to be half this year?
I believe so. We'll see, but I think when I looked at the records, that would be the case.
Is there gonna be less people?
And again, if it's a little bit more, then we just take, Jerry, I just don't totally understand all of this stuff. Over all these years, we have reserve. And if we need it to pay something else, then that's what we use. The budget is just your best guess with this. And of course, fiscally, Windsor has never had a problem with finances.
Mhm.
We were always able to do things with all of this. And of course, we always thought, as a township, you have the reserve. So if you have a problem with one, you can use the monies from that to do that.
Sure, no, I understand the concept of the reserve, okay? I'm just thinking, in this category of these insurances, we're not gonna be able to negotiate those down. So one would think that we'd look at last year's expenses and kind of put it to the budget to that number. That's what I'm pointing out. The next line is the insurance premiums, which is $11,000 less than the budget. And, again, maybe that was missed, but that's where I think we ought to get a list of assets that we have, where they're at, what we're insuring, and take a look at making sure that we're not insuring things that was scrapped 20 years ago, or we have assets that need to be added to the list.
He'll be here in March.
But he was here last year, but there was no paperwork provided.
Well, he goes down the list.
He goes down the list and explains.
Do we have a list?
We go through everything that he had on last year's policy, and if there was any changes, we make the changes at that point.
Is there a
And
list?
that may adjust the amount that we owe.
Do you have a list?
I don't have a list, but I think what he does is he goes through the list, it goes through it with you, it makes the changes, and then has his assistant email it or send it to Craig. Is that correct? So he doesn't give you a list at the meeting, but he does, I believe, provide the township.
I didn't
list.
see a list last year.
Yeah, because they have to, if anything changes, they have to use that to generate their new premium price.
Right.
We don't know what that's gonna be unless there's other changes plus whatever increases they have.
Yeah, but I would think that within township records is the premium invoice, and it would have an itemization of the items.
I mean, this building is assessed at a certain value, and it's insured for that value replacement.
Can I get,
And all equipment.
can I see that list?
Yeah.
Can we put that on the list of things to do?
Okay.
Get a list of the insurance and assets.
Mhm.
Thank you. I'm not the treasurer for the township, but I think this approach is very helpful to track expenses throughout the year. I did share this spreadsheet. It's in the same format that you're using now. It would be appreciated if, we can adopt this format.
Now say that again, Jerry.
I think it'd be very helpful, to adopt this format, to have the monthlies, every month's expenses put in these columns so we can track it to the budget. And if we don't want to do a budget, then don't take it off the agenda.
You can't. By law, you're required to adopt a budget.
But then why don't we follow it then, okay? Or track the expenses to the budget, or revenue to the budget.
I can't answer that question.
Okay, that's my point. So that's out there. If you can give me a list of assets and then insurance, so when he comes, I can be prepared to talk to him, okay?
Okay.
That's it on that
That's
topic. Yep.
All right. Any job descriptions?
No, the next one is the process of paying monthly invoices.
No. Okay.
Where do we stand on that?
Well, what's your problem?
Well, we talked about a procedure, and then, we talked about a procedure in executive session about not pre-signing a whole bunch of checks and paying them before the board approves it, the bills to be paid. Russell mentioned that would be a good accounting practice. And my question is, are we going to adopt that practice?
Well, what we used to do and we've done it for years. Craig would come in here with the checks made out, and that's why we bought that check writer, because he would tear them out of the book, you would get them, you would put the check, the number on them, and as you were done with them, they'd come across in front of me, and I would double check them. That way we see what checks are going out.
Right.
That was just oversight, you know, so we all see, because if I want to see what we're paying Russell, you know, for the month, I can see that, or what we're paying anybody,
Okay.
you know. That's why we were doing that. And it's always worked,
But there was a lot of steps missing in that process.
as far as what?
Well, there was a lot of receipts missing that weren't in there.
What do you mean there's receipts missing?
Well, I never saw,
You'd have to look, all the receipts are right here. All you do is go through them.
okay. But they're not always there. Some are not there, is what I'm saying.
Well, now, if you wanted, you know, we talked about that, if you want them to carbon copy you on their itemized bill,
Mhm.
I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
You know, just itemize your bill, we said the same thing to Pamela. And,
All right,
and
well,
and
let's-
just send them out that
I'm
way,
gonna-
you'll have a chance to review them before the
Okay, so
meeting.
let's just get this on the record here, all right? Invoices come into the township. They are accumulated. The checks can come to the meeting with the payee's name on it, the amount in the box in dollars. And if I'm gonna print the checks, I'll print the checks, and after the checks are printed, then and only then, the checks will be signed.
Okay, how do we handle ones, since we only have monthly meetings?
Yes.
How do we handle ones that are due in between?
Okay, so, for an example, you saw the email today that came from Comcast. I was checking the status of where that's at. And, they are billing one on the 3rd of the month and the other one's on the 1st of the month. They themselves will not change the invoice dates. But if you can go online, you can pull the invoice before the meeting. So you can pull the invoice. The other one is the power company, I imagine to be the other concern, and we gotta check and see where that one's at. But I'm saying most of these can wait, or we tell
Well,
our,
some of them, you know, well, first of all, the treasurer, that's my job to do this.
Mhm.
And it's somewhat discouraging that you don't believe that the treasurer is gonna be honest to do this. We've been doing this all the time, you know, and Jerry, I take somewhat of offense to this, that, you know, you're trying to fix something that in my opinion is not broken. You know, in all these years, we were able to do this and there wasn't a problem. Now, of course, all of this isn't kosher or whatever, and now you wanna try to fix, and again, you know, I really don't understand why you have to have all of this material. You know, if Windsor Township had a problem over all these years, I could understand that, but we never did. We always were fiscally sound, there wasn't a problem, there wasn't anything. Now we come in here and we're supposed to switch everything around with a program that has been working all these years. I really don't understand that.
I don't think it's right, Craig, to pre-sign checks, all right? Because I don't care, and it's not about distrust, you wanna make it about distrust. It's not, there's no distrust here, okay? It's a bad practice. I don't know any accounting firm would say that's an approved practice.
Okay,
And I don't care, it's always been done that way, okay? That's not the answer you tell the auditors or you tell the IRS when they come knocking on the door, that's how I always done it. That doesn't work, okay? That's a standard practice.
How many utility checks do we pay a month? 4, 3,
Well,
the 3 electric bills,
yeah,
the street lights,
mhm.
we'll have Comcast. So what is there, 2 bills there?
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking 6 checks.
Right.
To cover
It's-
you, and everything else would come across at the meeting. I mean,
But there are certain ones that are generally, it's not a
yeah,
whole lot.
I understand that.
Russell, you're legal counsel here. In your legal opinion, what's been going on has been legal?
I don't think it's a legal versus illegal issue. I think it's an accounting practice. I'm not an accountant. I think you have some options. One is, if the issue, and I don't know that this is really the answer, but if the issue is Comcast and Med-Ed, you can set both of those up on an automatic draft. You don't need a check. But then I think that you need to then produce that at the next meeting, and you need to ratify that expense.
Exactly.
I think if there's something that comes up in between meetings, I think that if a check gets signed again at the next meeting, it needs to be that needs to be ratified. That expenditure needs to be ratified. Those are ways to do it. I understand why it's done this way, but I think that because if you're going to need two signatures, someone's going to have to meet up with Craig to provide that second signature. So, it's either
just
going
like-
to be you or Dave.
Yeah, just like Ben's paycheck.
Now, I have to sign them obviously because I'm bonded.
Right,
you
but
need
you
a
need someone-
co-signature.
You need a co-signature.
Well, if you want to run around and sign checks, I'll get my name taken off and we can put you on.
Well, you can both be on.
It's not the point. I don't care if my name's on the check or not, that's not what this is about, okay? I think we went over this before, I think we're on the same page. I know it's a change, it's hard, but when I'm past that spreadsheet, every receipt needs to be attached to it, not some of them. That's my point, okay? I saw Russell Field for the first time last month. It took a year. It was never attached. That's the truth. So,
I have no way of knowing
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I sent it to the township.
All right, so that's where we're at on that topic.
That it?
That's it for that topic.
Job descriptions.
So I put that on the agenda because we need to follow through on this. And this is my recommendation. I'm going to ask Ben to make a list of his duties that he does every month and throughout the year. And then, Ben, I would like you to come up with job descriptions for all your people that work for you.
I think he has a job description.
I was gonna say, you can look at my time sheets, mine.
No, I'm not, this
It's
is,
under what I do, for me.
okay, if you can put a list together, all right? And then we can, and I will volunteer writing a narrative to put it together as an official job description. Is that fair?
I'm fairly certain that Ben has one.
Okay,
But we put it together when he was. his position
Is there
was created.
one?
I'm fairly certain there is one.
Okay, I think we
talked
need,
about one, but I don't remember if there is one or not.
do you know if you have one?
I don't remember. I know when I got hired, I know we talked about stuff, but I don't know if we actually had one or if we just talked about it. I don't remember
Okay.
that. So,
All right, well, I think it'd be good to and Craig, if you can write down the things that you do also on a list, and then we can create an official job description there too.
how do you want the road crew?
I'm saying to you is you,
Like labor, equipment,
however you see
or-
it, however you see fit. This is up to you.
yeah.
Are we all in agreement of this?
I thought we had asked Pamela to look into that a couple months ago.
Well, Dave, I don't want to pay an
Oh, I
engineering firm
understand
to
that, but
write
if
job
she already,
descriptions.
if she already has something that's available, we reach out to her before the next meeting and see if she's already done the work, or are you just gonna throw it away?
I don't think she did anything. But I don't know. You can ask
You're
her.
assuming.
But I'm not in favor of
Would you like to
taking,
call her and ask her?
I will do that. I just don't want to take the township's funds here, okay, and spend it to an engineering firm to write a job description. The next item on the list is outstanding tasks. And I just want to see, we can all agree who's going to do what here, so we don't talk about it in a year from now. The first one on the list is unclaimed property. There's 2 items on Pennsylvania's website for Windsor Township that are due to the township that we need to see what's owed to us, or what we never collected.
Southeast Drive.
It doesn't tell me that.
That's the one that
The
always
one,
comes
the
up.
one is, city mortgage, it says uncashed checks. And the other one is Columbia Gas claims payment checks. That's all I can read on it.
Is that something that you need to look into, Russell?
That's up to you. I mean, we can certainly, fill
I-
out forms, but I don't think that it requires a lawyer to do it.
No, I don't think so. I think the secretary of the township has to be the one that does it. Whoever the financial responsible party is the way it looks to me.
You sure that gas is for us?
I'm sure it's.
I'm telling you what's on the
Well, no,
website, okay?
because
I don't know
in the
anything.
township, that's why.
It's under Windsor Township, Berks County.
But a lot of problems with the properties that were abandoned like that get sold over and over again. We have put liens on it, and you spend more money on liens than it's worth. And it's,
We
say a
don't
bank.
know that. We don't know that.
We've gone through it, Jerry. The one down at Southeast Drive down at the pump
Yeah,
station.
but that doesn't
It's
say that.
probably
but-
been sold 5 times.
I think this is something separate though, Dave. This is, under the unclaimed property law, you have something that gets what we call escheated to the state. And so then the state has this on a website so that you can claim it. If you go on the website, there are forms that you can fill out, Craig. It's actually, from what I've seen, it's fairly straightforward. It's not, and then you send it into the state and you wait about, 6 or 8 or 9 or 10 weeks. And they review it and assuming that they can verify that the paperwork's correct, they'll send you a check. Now, a lot of times it's not a lot of money, but.
Well, it's
Yeah.
listed there as over $100 or under $100.
Yeah, that's
So
the two
I
categories.
don't know what it is.
Right, you don't know until it comes, and we do this for all of our estates, and most of the time it's not a lot, but every once in a while we hit a jackpot. So, now I don't think you're gonna hit a jackpot on what you described, but you don't know.
I have no idea.
All right, the 401 retirement plan. Did you receive any paperwork from that from
I did,
PSATs?
and again, I can't fill that out because I don't have all the pertinent information. So,
I thought you were gonna work with Greg on that.
yeah, Craig's, I turned it over to him, and I just wanted to make sure it's gonna get done.
Well, we have to make it official. At this point,
Yeah.
nothing has been done officially that we're going to initiate, that we
Yeah,
talked
we did
about
that
it.
and
but
talked about it in
There's
executive session.
nothing in the books
So
that
we
we're
have
gonna
to adopt
initiate.
that we're going to do that?
I'd have to look at the paperwork to answer that question.
No,
but yes.
we agreed that we were going to, we came up with a number
Mhm.
that we were gonna contribute.
There's gonna have to be an official action on that.
So there was no official action taken.
No, you were in executive session, you can't take
Okay.
official action.
So what does that take to get that? Can we do that now? We agreed on a number, can we act on it?
Do you need a review of the completed paperwork first?
I would prefer to, you're asking me to make a recommendation.
Here's what I'm saying, we agreed on a number. The next step is, we have to go and get the paperwork done, and first step is, through PSATs, is we have to basically put this out for bid, all right? So other, retirement funds can bid on this option to fund it, okay?
Mhm.
And of course, the way it's structured is, we have to have PSATs be the ultimate winner of that bid, because in 3 more full calendar years, because we already into 3,
Right.
then they will fund this for us. The first year, $5,900 at today's dollars. That money will come, but we gotta get them to do it. So we gotta agree that we're gonna do this officially, and then we gotta start that paperwork process with them to get an account established.
I think you need a motion to adopt, to start the process of adopting a 401A retirement plan and authorize the chairman and the secretary to execute any and all necessary documents to put it out for bid.
Are we ready to make that motion?
Yeah, if you want to make it.
I'll make the motion that we establish a retirement fund for a full-time employee that's on staff now.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the next step is,
I have to see the paperwork, so that, I mean, I'm not gonna fill it out, but I need to be, at least be able to look at it
okay,
and tell Craig and Dave.
I'll forward
Yeah.
material to you.
Okay.
the next item on the list is the park rental agreement. It was suggested that since we do not have a cleaning crew this year, that we have a two-part process for park rental. One, the rental check. Two, a deposit that would cover, substantial deposit that will cover the cleaning if the renter does not clean the park. And,
I believe the agreement already has that language in it.
but we need the secretary to type up the agreement so it's ready to go if someone comes here in a month or two wants to rent the park.
No, I think the agreement that I had prepared, some years ago, has that deposit language already in it. I don't know if it was being implemented or not, but I believe that there is language.
Okay, well, then we need to get an agreement in front of us at next month's meetings to get it adopted then, if it's
It's
there.
already.
It's already been adopted. It was adopted years ago.
But we never asked for a deposit?
I don't know what happened after it was adopted.
Okay,
I know that I was asked several years ago to rewrite the agreement. It's probably a bit longer than it needs to be, but that.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 pages or something like that.
Yeah.
well, can we get a copy on the table here?
I sent it by email a couple months ago when you asked about it.
That's the copy? That's not a draft?
No, that was not a draft, that was what,
That was what it was passed.
that's what was adopted. I think Pamela maybe had given us another version,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
different from what we had adopted.
but, I mean, that park agreement was adopted, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you want to make minor tweaks to it,
Okay,
I think I sent it in Word format so that you can easily do that.
okay,
And then yes, you should bring it back to the board to be reapproved at that point if it's changed.
okay. All right, I'll look for that then. All right, the next item on the list of outstanding tasks is the filing of records. And I guess I'm wondering what we're going to do about that.
You're talking about the digitization?
Yes. What's the plan?
Have you talked to anybody about
Well, what the
digitizing?
plan is, a lot of this can be done in-house, and I'm working on some of those things, but of course, some of it, if we're going to, what are you talking about? To digitalize the records, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that there's been a concern for some time that the records need to get either in filing cabinets or scanned and uploaded into a cloud, so we have a record for the future.
We probably will need, once we determine what you want to do, you'll need a resolution that establishes what your document retention policy is.
Well, and before we do that, do we want to contact a company just to see what it's gonna cost?
And I think that's what you had decided.
It's not gonna be,
But it was a week ago. I don't know if Craig's done that in the last week, since that was last discussed.
it's not gonna be a cheap process.
It's
So
not.
was there a quote obtained in the past?
I think we may have talked to somebody up at the convention about it.
Yeah,
That may be where we got the company's
Yeah,
name
there
or
are
whatever.
agencies that do that, that's their service.
But
So you're
someone,
looking at, what, 25 grand, I think, a number stuck in my head. It's not cheap.
I don't remember amounts.
so why couldn't anybody in this room go over there and start scanning this stuff and upload it into files? why would we wanna pay something like that number?
Well, first of all, the state requires, or the government requires certain things kept, others can be eliminated. So that's the first step. Some of the material that's there, you know, when we were in the older building, there's stuff that's there, that can be eliminated, but all of that is a stepwise process. You have to have a resolution to do all of that, and that's the first step.
Okay,
I mean, maybe the first step is to identify what statutorily can be eliminated and start eliminating it by resolution so that you don't have to scan it.
well, PSATS has a book out there, a manual,
I know.
what is supposed to be saved and shouldn't be saved.
I'm not saying that it's a you know, the information is out there, but I think that we need to then look at it and then make the determination on what's in the vault over in the other building that we don't need, you know, that you don't need to keep.
Okay.
And then you have to adopt a resolution because the public needs to know that you're getting rid of this stuff.
Okay, so can we put a timeline together on when this is going to be done?
When that part is going to be done?
Yes, when we get, you know, it's been talked about for 10 years now, so when is, what's the next step in this process?
I can look at the manual and the law, and I can tell you, you know, what the categories are. I can't tell you, other than going and looking through the vault, which I don't think you need me to do. You know, I can counsel the secretary on what he can look at pulling, and then once he's identified that, then I can draft a resolution. I'll have I'll get that timeline to you by the March meeting.
Okay,
You know,
all right.
that way you can move forward.
Yes, a question?
Just, yeah, I know there's cybersecurity grants out there that you can probably apply for that may help with recouping it. Now, granted, it's not gonna happen overnight, but I know they do there's federal grants that may be able to help you with offsetting it if you don't feel like sitting there, but it's data recovery, so just throwing that out there. I mean, I know that there's different options, but then you gotta get a grant writer and everything, but.
And as far as getting rid of the stuff, we have to
Yeah.
have a disposal company come in
Yeah.
to do that. We can't just burn the paperwork.
No, because you probably also want, you know,
Certified.
certified, you know, where they give you a certificate that says this is what you got rid of, so you have that.
Yeah, Pamela made mention of that.
Yeah.
All right, so at the next meeting, we're gonna start this process, getting something done on this, right? Okay. Next thing I have on the list is letter to PennDOT, and that's the letter, that we talked about 2 months ago about the weight limits off of 61 to the, what's the road name? I get lost, just stop back.
Port Clinton Avenue.
Port Clinton Avenue Road.
It's Blue Mountain at that end.
Okay, Blue Mountain Road.
It's
yes.
our Port Clinton Avenue.
So has a letter been sent to PennDOT requesting that?
That Pamela was handling.
Pamela's taking care of that letter?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one on the list is the documents posted on the website, the Windsor Township website. All the meeting minutes are posted as Word documents, and so are some of the ordinances. And the concern is, I can open that up and I can change those. And I could print them off and bring them in here and everybody would be confused and wouldn't know any different because it's so easy to change it because it's not converted to a PDF.
They should all be PDFs.
Okay. So I think we need to, I don't know if Carl does that or how that's gonna take place, but how are we gonna get that on the agenda to be accomplished?
You know, I can make sure I can talk to Carl and
You should be able to scan it as a PDF, correct?
Okay.
And the other thing on the website is, the ordinance, the amended solar ordinance has yet to be, it was the planning commission drafted and the board of supervisors approved in, was it February, March of last year, it still has not been put on there to be updated.
So historically, we have, you know, every several years have gone through and updated the zoning, the main zoning ordinance file. I can do that. I haven't done it in quite a number of years because it just hasn't been done. But the question is that, do you want me to do that?
Well, what does it say on there right now? It says pending ordinance.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the, I didn't,
It says something like the pending ordinance, not like it's
On the website?
yes. It's not the official document. So I'm not saying I'm not asking you to rewrite the whole thing. That's not what I'm saying. But the part that was changed has not been changed on the website.
so it's not that I rewrite the whole thing, it's that, so the whole zoning ordinance is, you know, say 200 pages.
Yes, yeah,
So I'll go in and I'll update,
that section.
you know, whatever section has been amended. I don't do it every time,
Okay.
you know, because it might be minor. I, you know, probably should be done every time, but I just don't.
Well, do we agree that Russell should take a look at that and because
It
it's
needs
not
to be updated.
Yeah.
And is that why it's in Word? So you can,
No, that's not. I don't know why it's in Word. But I have a Word version of that I can update and then I can send it to you in PDF form so you can put it up on the website. Just like if you want, I also have, you know, I have my own, you know, digital format of all of the township ordinances. I've been doing that for years. Like so I have everything PDF'd already, so I can send that to you and then you can.
Well, from my perspective, if somebody came in, the developer came into the township and wanted to do solar, it's not clear there's a new ordinance in place.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Is that a legal problem for us? Because it's not posted the correct way?
No, it's been adopted.
Yeah, but it's.
So
it would go to the planning commission anyway.
So by law, what we do, and you probably don't know this because I just do it. Whenever we adopt an ordinance, I file a copy of it with the law library, which is essentially that was the repository of these things. So that the ordinances should all be there.
Okay.
Now, it's sort of antiquated at this point to do it that way because of the internet, but I don't think it's a legal issue because they could also contact us for the ordinances, but I think that it would be best practice to have the most updated ordinances on the website. That's
Well, yeah, either they're updated or take them off completely, you know what I'm saying?
right. I agree with
Because
you.
the information's not correct.
Right, and you don't want people to be confused.
Right. Okay.
And as far as some of the names that you want to change, you know, with the updates for the people in the committees and that stuff, it really wasn't finalized until tonight, till we approved the minutes.
Right.
Okay.
So now they can be
Okay.
changed. I think there's 4 that need to be changed on it. I just
Okay.
checked it out the other day, and I'll take that up with Carl.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had.
All right. All right, item number 7, 2025 municipal primary.
Yeah, we have a notification that came from the county as far as the positions that are going to be up for the primary. And I have to verify that.
You emailed that to me.
Yeah.
I can't remember which auditor needed to be.
Ruth Adam,
Okay, so we have to notify them to put that position.
but it's on here.
Is it on there?
Yeah, it's on here. There would be the tax collector, 1 supervisor, and one auditor.
Shouldn't it be 2 though? Isn't someone else up? Or was it
No,
just
I think
Ruth?
it's one
It was
at a
Ruth's
time.
term of
It's just one at a
Yeah, we
time.
just wanted to talk.
I know,
like-
but you filled her term, an unexpired term. Was that the term that was up next?
Becky Reinhardt's up in 2025, and Ruth Adam is up this year.
Okay, so she was up. She was going to be up no matter what.
Yeah,
But
and, yeah, and she's
we
been
have
off
to
for a
check it. See, the one auditor here is Lorraine Cohn, but they moved out of the, out of Windsor Township. And Pamela Isaac, then I guess by law, she would have to then be on the primary.
Yes.
Okay, well, that has to be, I have to send this down by the end of the month.
That was my point, is that I knew that Pam had filled someone's term.
Right.
Can I see that, Craig?
Yep. I just came today. The email had come, but
Yeah,
that
the
letter.
hard copy came today.
All right, is there any other concerns? Nope. All right, what do we have for bills? Do you have these all wrote in? I'll look through them.
Craig, on this Comcast bill, is there,
Now,
any receipts for that for a credit?
yeah.
What is it, $89 or something?
Well, it used to be $240.
Well, no,
But they charge us for a period of time, we're supposed to get a credit.
yeah.
So where's the credit? Last month, we paid $300.53. This month, after we got rid of those four phones that was out here for 4 years that was never used, that we paid, we're gonna save $4,000 on that per year. The bill for the month is correct, but we're due a credit.
Would that maybe come with the second one?
I don't know.
I don't know either, so we'll see, but.
Because this invoice is bill date January 1st. We got 30-day net terms. When I talked to them today about changing the invoice date, they told me they can't change it, but there's a 30-day grace period. So my point is, this one here this is an emergency bill that has to be paid in between meetings. I'm just sharing that with you, okay? Okay, so this is fine, but we're due a credit because I canceled this back in early December sometime.
No,
And that period of time, for them to turn it off, they told me they were due a credit.
right.
What did we pay for diesel fuel?
Three, all right, there's slips here, all of that stuff's here. I know it's the same we pay at home on the farm, it's the same amount.
301, 3019. We got 275.4 gallons. And that would be tax exempt.
It's off-road diesel. Is that correct?
Well, we're tax exempt anyway.
Is it dyed then?
Yeah, it's all fruit.
It's dyed?
Yeah.
Okay. And the BMO payment for supplies, what is that for?
Oh, that was one
Oh,
of
is
the
that the
things.
card?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was supplies I got.
You mean like shop supplies?
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
all of
BMO
those are signed by Ben.
Okay. Are you going to share the receipts in all this, or?
Is it, oh, not receipt here?
Yeah. What does it want to see?
Why don't you just give him the whole stack and then he can see what he wants to say.
You have to sign, okay.
What's that?
You have to sign those.
Yeah, I think it. No, you
You
do.
did, okay.
Yep, you do.
I did.
So, Craig, I'm missing a check for the BMO payment here.
That's the direct, that is taken off the account directly.
Okay, and GIT is the same thing?
Yep. That,
And Department of Labor?
that's all of that is ACH.
Okay. All right.
Sign this for you guys.
What's that?
Here's a check for you.
You wanna make the motion to pay the bills?
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Alright,
Ayes have it. Any other concerns?
that's Gary's.
All right. Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.